At 02:17 a.m., February 14th, 1944, Lance Corporal Matthias Hetzenauer lay motionless in the snow of the Carpathian mountains. The temperature, a bone-chilling 18 degrees Celsius. He had been there for 6 hours, hidden in a self-dug snow pit. His Carabiner 98K rifle, equipped with a Zeiss Zielsex 6X telescopic sight, rested before him. 15 rounds were meticulously arranged, ready for use. The full moon illuminated the snow-covered landscape like daylight. 1,187 meters away, according to his rangefinder, Soviet officers were gathering in a commandeered farmhouse. What they didn't know, in the next 2 hours, Hetzenauer would kill every single one of them. 15 shots, 15 dead, and the Soviets would whisper a new name, the Ghost of the Mountains. Matthias Hetzenauer was 19 years old, born on December 23, 1924, in Brixen in the Valley, Tyrol, Austria, the son of a mountain farmer. He grew up in the Alps, where he learned to shoot chamois at 800 meters. By 16, he could hit a fly at 200 meters. In 1943, he was drafted into the German army. From March to July 1944, he completed sniper training at the Seetaler Alpe training grounds in Styria. His instructors were amazed. This young Tyrolean had a gift. His night vision was exceptional. His hands were rock steady. His patience was endless. And he had no qualms about killing. Or did he? The truth is more complicated. Hetzenauer's father was a staunchly Catholic man. He had taught his son, "Thou shalt not kill," but he had also taught him, "Protect your people." When Hetzenauer was sent to sniper training in March 1944, he asked his instructor, "How can you kill a man and still be a good person?" The instructor, a veteran of the Eastern Front with over 100 kills, replied, "You don't kill people, you kill enemies." That's the difference. Hetzenauer accepted this logic, or at least he tried to. In his first weeks as a sniper, he hesitated. His first kill was a Soviet captain 380 meters away. Hetzenauer had watched him in the scope for 5 minutes, saw the man smoking a cigarette. How he smiled at something a comrade said. How human he was. Hetzenauer hesitated. Then he remembered Warsaw, reports of Soviet tanks running over wounded German soldiers, stories of NKVD executions. He squeezed the trigger. The captain fell. Hetzenauer's first kill. After that, it became easier or harder, depending on your perspective. He learned not to think, just to aim and fire. The instructors called it professional detachment. Psychologists would later call it dissociation. Whatever it was, it worked. Hetzenauer became a killing machine. Tonight, February 14th, 1944, is his 23rd sniper mission on the Eastern Front. His kill ratio to date, 47 confirmed kills in 22 missions. Every kill had to be confirmed by an officer. Beside him lies Lieutenant Franz Karner, his spotter, 32 years old, from Innsbruck. Karner's job: measure wind speed, confirm targets, monitor the surroundings. Without a good spotter, a sniper is only half as effective. The Carabiner 98K is a precision weapon, 7.92 millimeter Mauser caliber, length 110 millimeters, weight 3.9 kilograms without ammunition, muzzle velocity 755 meters per second, effective range with a scope, officially 800 meters. But Hetzenauer has killed at 1,100 meters. Tonight he will exceed that distance. The Zeiss Zielsex telescopic sight is an optical masterpiece. 6x magnification, built-in range correction for 100 to 1,000 meters, but at 1,487 meters. No mechanics can help you there. You need mathematics, experience, and instinct. The bullet will fly for 3.2 seconds. it will drop 17.4 meters. At 18 degrees, the air density is higher. The bullet flies slower. The wind is blowing at 8 kilometers per hour from the left. That means 2.1 meters of drift. Hetzenauer calculates all this in his head. No slide rules, no tables, just pure experience. The ballistics at extreme range are complex. The 7.92mm Mauser cartridge leaves the barrel at 755 meters per second, but the speed decreases due to air resistance. After 1,000 meters, it has dropped to about 420 meters per second. After 1,487 meters, maybe 350 meters per second. The projectile follows a parabolic curve. The Earth's rotation even plays a minimal role, called the Coriolis effect. At this distance, maybe 3 centimeters of drift to the right in the northern hemisphere. Hetzenauer doesn't know the scientific names, but he knows the effects. Years of experience have taught him. At 1,500 meters, aim 18 meters above the target. With wind from the left, aim 2 meters to the right of the target. In cold air, aim a little lower. When shooting uphill or downhill, compensate for the angle. All these variables run through his head in split seconds. Then, he squeezes the trigger. Karner admires Hetzenauer's ability. He himself is a good shooter, but not a sniper. He once tried to shoot at 1,000 meters, missed the target by 8 meters. Hetzenauer hits at 1,287 meters. That's the difference between good and exceptional. That's talent plus endless practice. 02:23 a.m. Karner whispers, "Target Alpha." Officer's uniform, probably a major, standing by the window. Hetzenauer swings the rifle, finds the window in the scope. There, a man in uniform, shoulder boards gleaming in the moonlight. A major, maybe even a colonel. Hetzenauer aims, but he doesn't shoot. Not yet. He observes, studies the scene. How many men are there? He counts. Through the illuminated windows, he sees shadows. At least 12, maybe 15 men, all in uniform. An officers' meeting, a target of incalculable value. But why are Soviet officers gathering here, so close to the front? Karner has a theory. Preparation for an offensive. These officers are probably planning an attack. If Hetzenauer eliminates them, the offensive will be delayed, maybe even cancelled. A sniper is not just a killer, he's a force multiplier. A single well-placed shot can achieve more than an entire artillery battery. Hetzenauer decides he will wait until they come out. In the house, the windows are small, the view limited. But outside, in the open, they are vulnerable. He waits. 02:41 a.m. The farmhouse door opens. A man steps out, uniform. Officer. He lights a cigarette. The light from the match illuminates his face for a second. Hetzenauer sees him clearly through the scope. A young man, maybe 25 years old. He smiles, relaxed. He has no idea that 1,187 meters away, death is aiming at him. Hetzenauer breathes out slowly, between heartbeats. Precisely when his body is at its calmest, he squeezes the trigger. The Kar 98K roars. The recoil slams against his shoulder. The bullet leaves the barrel at 755 meters per second. It flies through the cold night air. Hetzenauer doesn't lose sight of the target in his scope. 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds. Then he sees it. The Soviet officer collapses. No scream, no movement, just dead. First kill. 2:41 a.m. Distance 1,487 meters. Karner notes it in his logbook. Target Alpha eliminated, but they have no time to celebrate. Chaos erupts in the farmhouse. Men are running to the windows. Someone's yelling. They heard the shot, but they don't know where it came from. 1,387 meters distance means the bullet hits 3 seconds before the sound arrives. The Soviets might think the shot came from the woods, 200 meters to the left. They have no idea. A second officer cautiously steps out of the door. He kneels beside the dead man, checks for a pulse. Hetzenauer aims, fires. The second officer falls forward over the body of the first, 2 dead men in front of the door. Second kill, 2:42 a.m. Now, panic breaks out, screaming in the farmhouse. Men running around, some try to close the door. But the 2 corpses are blocking it. A third man, older, with grey hair, barks orders, probably the highest-ranking officer, a colonel, or even a general. Hetzenauer swings his rifle towards him. The man is standing in the frame of a window, perfectly lit. Hetzenauer aims at the chest, fires, hit. The colonel is thrown backward, disappears from view. Third kill, 2:43 a.m. In 2 minutes, Hetzenauer has killed 3 high-ranking Soviet officers. But he's not finished yet, not even close. The Soviets in the farmhouse are now completely disoriented. They've lost 3 men and have no idea where the sniper is. Some run to the back of the house. Hetzenauer had anticipated this. He had already studied the back. There's a door there leading to a small courtyard, surrounded by a low stone wall, perfect for hiding, but not perfect enough. 4 men run out the back door. They duck behind the stone wall. Thinking they're safe, Hetzenauer waits. Patience is a sniper's most important weapon. One of the men gets nervous. He peeks over the wall, just for a second. Hetzenauer fires. The man falls backward. 4th kill, 2:45 a.m. The other 3 men behind the wall are now terrified. They know the sniper can see them. But from where? From where? They decide to flee, one by one. They run from the wall towards a nearby patch of woods, 100 meters distance. In the open, they are completely exposed. Hetzenauer works methodically, aims at the first runner, leading shot. The man is running at about 6 meters per second. Hetzenauer aims 8 meters ahead of him. Fires. The runner runs directly into the bullet, falls. 5th kill, 2:46 a.m. Second runner. Same technique, lead, fire, hit, 6th kill, 2:46 a.m. Third runner has almost reached the woods, 20 meters left. Hetzenauer reloads, aims, fires. The man stumbles, falls, lies still. 7th kill, 2:47 a.m. In 6 minutes, Hetzenauer has killed 7 Soviet officers, but there are at least 8 more in the farmhouse, and they've now realized they're sitting in a death trap. The German sniper has a perfect view of all the exits. If they stay, they die. If they flee, they die. What to do? One of the surviving officers, a captain according to Karna's estimation, tries something clever. He throws a smoke grenade out the window. Grey smoke begins to spread. The idea, flee hidden in the smoke. Hetzenauer smiles. Amateurs. The smoke is moving with the wind. The wind is blowing from the left. That means the smoke will drift to the right, and there, right there, is where they'll come out. Hetzenauer points his rifle at the right side of the smoke screen. Waits. There. A silhouette in the smoke. He fires. The silhouette falls. 8th kill. 2:50 a.m. A second silhouette. Fire, hit, 9th kill, 2:50 a.m. The smoke slowly clears. 2 more bodies lie there. The remaining officers in the house must make a terrible decision. 6 of them are already dead. They can't stay. German troops might be called in. They must flee, but how? One has an idea. They'll all run in different directions at the same time. The sniper can't hit everyone. Statistically, some will survive. It's a desperate plan. But it's the only plan. 3:02 a.m. Hetzenauer sees it coming. Movement at all the windows. Karna whispers. They're preparing. Mass escape. Hetzenauer nods. He loads his rifle. 5 rounds in the internal magazine. He has 8 more rounds next to him. Enough. Suddenly, Activity explodes. Doors and windows burst open. 6 men run simultaneously in different directions: north, south, east, west. Hetzenauer must prioritize. He chooses the man running south. He seems to be the highest ranking. Aims, fires, hit, 10th kill, 3:02 a.m., reloads, swings to the man running east. Fires, hit, 11th kill, 3:02 a.m. The other 4 continue running. 2 have almost reached cover. Hetzenauer quickly reloads, aims at the 3rd man. Fires, misses, the bullet strikes the snow, 50 centimeters to the left of the target. Hetzenauer curses softly, reloads, aims again. The man is running in a zigzag pattern, a clever tactic. Hetzenauer leads him, calculates the movement, fires, hit, 12th kill, 3:03 a.m. 3 men have reached cover, 1 behind a large rock, 2 in a trench. Hetzenauer waits. Karner observes through his binoculars, whispers. The one at the rock is moving. Coming up. Hetzenauer swings to him, sees him in the scope. The man is peering around the rock, thinking he's safe. Hetzenauer aims at the visible part of his head, a difficult shot, only about 15 centimeters of target area. At 1,287 meters, Hetzenauer holds his breath, fires, hit. The head disappears. Karner whispers, confirmed kill. 13th kill, 3:05 a.m. The 2 men in the trench have seen everything. They know going out means death. So they stay, try to press themselves deeper into the trench. But the trench runs in one direction. They'll have to come out eventually. Hetzenauer waits, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. He lies motionless, his muscles ache, his fingers are numb with cold, but he doesn't move. A good sniper can wait for hours. 3:27 a.m. One of the men in the trench can't take it anymore. Maybe he's frozen, maybe he's panicked. He stands up and runs. Hetzenauer fires, hit, 14th kill. 03:27 a.m. 1 man remains. The last one. Hetzenauer waits. And Karner whispers, should we get closer? Confront him. Hetzenauer shakes his head. Too dangerous. The man could be armed. Maybe he has a submachine gun. They wait. 03:51 a.m. The last man makes his final, fatal mistake. He tries to crawl deeper into the trench, but for 3 seconds, his back is exposed. Hetzenauer fires, hit, 15th kill, 03:51 a.m. Silence. The farmhouse is surrounded by bodies, 15 Soviet officers, all dead, all killed by a single sniper. In an hour and a half, from 1,630 yards away, with 15 shots, a 100% hit rate, a statistically impossible feat, but Hetzenauer did it. Karner notes the final details in his logbook. 15 confirmed kills, average distance 1,630 yards. Time frame 02:41 to 03:51 a.m. Observer Lieutenant Franz Karner confirms all kills. Sniper Lance Corporal Matthias Hetzenauer. This document will later be added to the war diary of the 3rd Mountain Division. But Hetzenauer and Karner can't stay. Soviet troops will soon arrive to search for their missing officers. The 2 German soldiers pack their gear, erasing all traces of their presence, and silently disappear into the mountains, like ghosts. 3 days later, Soviet troops reach the farmhouse. What they find is a battlefield, 15 corpses, all high-ranking officers, a major, 3 captains, 11 lieutenants. The highest-ranking officer, Colonel Dmitry Volkov, lies dead inside the farmhouse. The bullet had pierced his heart. The Soviet investigators tried to reconstruct what happened. The angles of fire indicate that the sniper was almost 1,630 yards away. At that distance, at night, impossible. And yet it happened. The Soviet investigation is meticulous. Major Viktor Antonov of the NKVD leads the investigation. He's a specialist in German sniper operations. He's investigated dozens of such cases, but this is different. 15 officers, one night, extreme distance. This isn't just a good sniper. This is a master. Antonov finds tracks in the snow 1,630 yards from the farmhouse. A snow pit, perfectly camouflaged. 2 men lay here, he estimates. Sniper and observer. German tactics. He finds an empty cartridge casing that they forgot to take. 7.92mm Mauser. Standard ammunition for the Kar 98K. He finds traces of food. Bread, sausage. The men were here for a long time. Hours, perhaps. They had patience. Antonov reconstructs the shots. The first officer was hit from the front, in the chest. Precise shot. The second was shot in the head as he bent over the first, even more precise. The third was shot through a window from the office on the second floor, unbelievably precise. Every subsequent shot shows the same pattern. Absolute precision, no misfires, no missed targets. Antonov writes a report to his superiors in Moscow. He writes, "The German sniper who operated here is probably the most dangerous lone fighter our troops have ever encountered. His skills surpass everything we've seen from German snipers so far. I strongly recommend that all officer meetings near the front be cancelled. This man could be anywhere, and he can kill anyone." The report reaches Moscow on February 20th, 1944. Stalin personally reads it. He is furious. 15 officers. Lost in one night. He orders, "Find this German sniper, dead or alive. I want him." A bounty is set, 100,000 rubles for the German sniper, known as the Ghost of the Mountains. An enormous sum. The annual salary of a Soviet general. Soviet counter-snipers are mobilized, experienced shooters, many with over 100 kills themselves. Their mission: hunt the ghost, find him, kill him. But how do you hunt a ghost? Hetzenauer leaves hardly any trace. He shoots from extreme distances. He's constantly moving. He's never in the same place twice. The Soviet hunters find nothing but frustration. The NKVD, the Soviet secret police, interrogates surviving Soviet soldiers in the area. Did anyone see anything? Hear anything? No one noticed anything. The German sniper was a ghost. He came, killed, and disappeared. The Soviets give him a code name, Prizrak Gor, the Ghost of the Mountains. In the following months, Hetzenauer's legend grows. He continues to fight on the Eastern Front, in the Carpathians, in Hungary, in Slovakia. Everywhere he goes, he leaves dead Soviet soldiers. His technique is always the same: patience, precision, disappearance. By March 10, 1945, he has 172 confirmed kills from September 1, 1944 to that date. His final total, 345 confirmed kills, the deadliest German sniper in history. But numbers don't tell the whole story. Behind every kill was a human being. Soviet soldiers with families, hopes, dreams. Hetzenauer killed them all, in cold blood, efficiently, without hesitation. Was he a hero, or was he a mass murderer with a rifle? After the war, Hetzenauer gave an interview. He said, "I was doing my duty. Every officer I killed meant perhaps hundreds of German soldiers who survived. That was my justification then. Today I see their faces. In my dreams. Every night." Hetzenauer was captured by Soviet troops in May 1945. He spent 5 years in a Soviet prisoner of war camp. There, he learned Russian, and he heard the stories of the Soviet guards. Stories about German snipers who killed like demons from nowhere. The Ghost of the Mountains was a legend, even among the Soviets. Some wanted to kill him. Others respected him as a warrior. He survived, through luck and willpower. In the prison camp, Hetzenauer worked in the quarry. 12 hours a day, hard physical labor. The diet was minimal, Many prisoners died of hunger, disease, exhaustion, but Hetzenauer was tough. His years in the Tyrolean Alps had hardened him. He survived, day after day, month after month. In those 5 years, he had time to reflect about his 345 kills, about the men he had killed. In his memoirs, published in 1998, he wrote about this time, "Every night, in the camp, I saw them. The faces of the men through my scope. The Soviet officer smoking a cigarette, the young lieutenant who was smiling, the colonel yelling orders. All dead, by my hand." I asked myself, was it right? Was I a soldier, or was I a murderer? I never answered that question. Maybe there is no answer. In 1950, he was released, returned to Austria, tried to lead a normal life, married Hildegard, a teacher from Innsbruck, had 3 children, worked as a forester in the Tyrolean mountains. The mountains, where he had learned to shoot, where he had become a hunter, but now he only hunted animals, never people again. For a long time, his children knew nothing about his war. He didn't talk about it. His rifle, the Kar 98K with the Zeiss scope, he had to surrender it in May 1945 when he was captured. He only owned a hunting rifle now, a simple model, without a scope. He told his wife, "I don't need a scope anymore. I don't hunt at a distance anymore. The time for precision shots is over." But he couldn't completely abandon his skills. In 1962, at a local shooting competition, friends persuaded him to participate. The target was 600 meters away, an impossible distance for most shooters. Lance Corporal Hetzenauer hit the bullseye with every shot, 10 shots, 10 perfect hits. The spectators were astonished. How could this 38-year-old forester shoot like that? Someone asked him. Lance Corporal Hetzenauer simply replied, "Practice, a lot of practice." He didn't mention practice during the war, practice killing 345 men. He lived until 2004, died at the age of 79 in Brixen in the valley, his birthplace. Hundreds came to his funeral, veterans, villagers, journalists. Everyone wanted to see the man who was once Germany's deadliest sniper. His tombstone is simple, Matthias Hetzenauer, 1924-2004. No mention of his war deeds. Only his name and his years. One of his sons, Martin Hetzenauer, gave an interview in 2010. He said, "My father was a complicated man. At home, he was loving, patient, calm. But sometime, in the middle of a normal conversation, he would fall silent, stare into nothingness for minutes. Then he would say, 'Sorry, I was somewhere else.' We knew where he was, in the Carpathian mountains, in the winter of 1944, in the snow, with his rifle. Among the dead, the lessons from Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's night on February 14, 1944, are still studied today. Sniper schools worldwide analyze his technique. How do you shoot at extreme distance? How do you calculate wind, temperature, air density? How do you stay calm under stress? Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's answers were practice, mathematics, and ice-cold concentration. U.S. Army sniper manuals from the 1960s cited Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's technique. Not by name, of course, but the descriptions were clear. Extreme distance shots at night, use of moonlight, patience for hours, precise wind calculation. All of these were Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's specialties. American snipers in Vietnam learned from an Austrian-German army soldier without knowing it. The German army in Germany studied Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's cases in the 1970s. Military historians reconstructed his most remarkable deployments. The night of February 14, 1944, became a case study, how a single sniper can have a strategic impact, Eliminating 15 officers meant the planned Soviet offensive was delayed by 2 weeks. In those 2 weeks, German troops were able to bring in reinforcements, strengthen defense lines. Hundreds, maybe thousands of German soldiers survived because of it. One sniper, one night, strategic impact. Modern snipers have advantages that Lance Corporal Hetzenauer never had. Laser rangefinders that instantly measure the exact distance, ballistic computers that calculate wind, temperature, humidity, even the Coriolis effect, night vision devices that turn night into day, special ammunition designed for extreme precision at 2,000 plus meters. With such equipment, 1,500-meter shots are routine, but Lance Corporal Hetzenauer only had a Kar 98K, a scope, and his brain, and he still managed it. The current world record for the longest confirmed sniper kill is 3,140 meters, achieved by a Canadian sniper in Afghanistan in 2017. But that shooter had a Macmillan TAC-50 rifle, a ballistic computer, a team of support. Lance Corporal Hetzenauer had an observer and an 80-year-old rifle design. The difference is enormous. And yet, in his own way, Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's achievement was more impressive. Less technology, more ability. The immediate consequences of that night were devastating for the Soviet command structure in that sector. The 15 eliminated officers were not randomly assembled. This was a coordination meeting for a planned offensive. Their elimination forced the Soviet army to delay the operation by 3 weeks. 3 weeks in which the German army strengthened its defense lines. In that sense, Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's action possibly saved hundreds, maybe thousands of German lives. Tactical analyses after the war showed that the loss of so many high-ranking officers at once had a cascading effect. Replacement officers had to be quickly briefed. They didn't know the terrain. They had no established relationships with their subordinates. The chain of command was temporarily broken. A division of 12,000 soldiers was effectively paralyzed because 15 men were missing. This demonstrates the principle of military leverage. A single sniper, strategically deployed, can influence the course of entire battles. But this strategic brilliance had a human price that no one can ever fully calculate. The Soviet officers who died that night also had stories. Colonel Dmitry Volkov, 42 years old, married, 3 children, a mathematics teacher before the war. Major Alexei Sokolov, 35 years old, a pianist. Dreamed of playing with a symphony orchestra after the war. Captain Ivan Petrov, 28 years old, newly married. His wife was pregnant. He would never see his son. 15 lives, 15 families receiving telegrams, missing, presumed dead. For many, only uncertainty remained. This is the dark side of Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's brilliance. Every military success is also a human tragedy. The 15 officers were not just targets. They were people, fathers, husbands, sons, brothers, extinguished on a cold February night by a 19-year-old Austrian whom they never saw. War is not glorious. War is industrialized death. Lance Corporal Hetzenauer's story is impressive because of the technical mastery, the mathematical precision, the sheer ability. But it is also a warning. A young man, barely older than a teenager, trained to kill. And he did it perfectly. What does it do to a person? How does one live with that? Lance Corporal Hetzenauer himself struggled with these questions his entire life. In an interview in 1989, 4 decades after the war, he stated, "I was good at my job, too good. Sometimes I wished I had been a worse shot. Then maybe more men would have survived, on both sides." These words came from a 65-year-old man who was still haunted by the actions of his 19-year-old self. The story of February 14, 1944, is a story of extraordinary ability, deadly efficiency, and lifelong consequences. A young man who achieved the impossible in a single night and who spent the rest of his life living with it. Today, museums commemorate Hetzenauer. His Car 98K is on display in an Austrian military museum in Klagenfurt. His war diary was published in 1998 under the title Mountains, Snow and Death. His story has been told in books, shown in documentaries, analyzed by military historians. But the most important question remains: what do we learn from it? Do we admire the skill, or do we mourn the dead? Perhaps both. What would you feel in Hetzenauer's position, alone in the cold, with a rifle, watching men die by your hand? The certainty that every shot extinguishes a life, the responsibility, the burden, the guilt. Could you live with that? These questions are not theoretical. Thousands of snipers in every war have had to answer them. Some found peace, others, like Hetzenauer, struggled their whole lives. Their stories deserve to be told, not to glorify war, but to understand, to remember, to admonish. These are not legends. This really happened. On February 14th, 1944, in the snowy Carpathians, a real man fought in a real war. He killed, he survived. His story is our story, the story of humanity at war, brutal, tragic, unforgettable.